you for inviting me to share a few thoughts with you at towards the end of this extremely interesting and valuable event. Let me start by repeating something we've said many times, but we still need to continue to repeat. Rare diseases are not rare. The individual diseases are rare, but taken all together, the 6,000 to 8,000 diseases affect perhaps more than 300 million people, certainly maybe even more. To put that into perspective, that's more than half the number of diabetes patients worldwide. So why is this important? Because when resources available to health systems are limited, and unfortunately they all too often are very limited, inevitably that leads to the rationing of healthcare. And the term rare often, unfortunately, ends up deprioritizing patients with rare conditions. So how do we answer this problem, and how do we solve this problem? Well, I think there are 2 points, 2 essential aspects. First of all is the very basic stuff, is really to invest strongly in strengthening health systems. If we're really serious about SDG 3, about universal health coverage, we cannot afford to deprioritize anybody, much less such large numbers of people. And we know that strong health systems are indeed at a rising tide that would lift all boats. So I think the first thing that has been said a moment ago, I think it's really important to emphasize that investing in health systems, especially in aspects of health systems that are very important for patients with rare conditions, will not just benefit patients with rare conditions, it will benefit everybody else. If, for example, there is strong investment in telemedicine, for example, this will certainly help bring care to patients who may be far away from the expertise, but it will also help the management of many other conditions as well. But then we need to also do more than that. That's the basic stuff. We need then to network, and this is what this event is all about. The networking of care, the networking of expertise, and I would say also the networking of patients and the expertise, the first-hand knowledge that they and their families and their carers can bring. This is important. We know that the journey to diagnosis and treatment where available is unfortunately still far too long, and networking is the way to shorten that journey and make it more effective. This is indeed what we've been doing in Europe since 2011 with the European reference networks on the clinical side, where we've really built networks that can bring expertise closer to the patient, irrespective of the physical location of the patient. But we're also applying that, for example, in research, the new European Partnership on Rare Diseases, which will coordinate national, local, and European research and innovation programs to combine research funding, implementation of research support activities, including training, infrastructure to access data, data standards. And this is really important. We are at the moment really at the heart of a technological revolution where we can really process large amounts of data, where research is really giving us more and more answers. And that research will certainly help patients with rare conditions, but will also help everybody else, because hidden in that data will be answers also to other conditions, which may be even more prevalent. So this is really, I think, an opportunity we cannot afford to miss. But again, networking is key, because if the research is being carried out in fragmented oases, not communicating with each other, it will take much longer to find the answers we are all looking for. Now, when it comes to international partnerships, we will apply the same approach. We very much would like to link the European expertise on rare diseases with the global health agenda. I think what really is needed now is to network the networks. It's important to have regional networks, and then it's important to link those globally, so that we can also make the best use of the data that will be available, the expertise that is already out there, and we need more of it, but also to be able to accelerate the research effort, to have better understanding and better treatments. And this is something definitely we are prepared to invest in. I think what we've just heard today is indeed extremely encouraging. I was very much impressed by the very solid work and the excellent progress happening all over the world. I think the time is ripe now to really start to create this global network. Data will be at the heart of that. Data will be the backbone for informed decisions. But of course, data is only good if it is shared. It must be shared among patients, among experts, among centers, the networks. We are already doing that, for example, in some areas like with rare infectious diseases, our collaboration between the ECDC and the African CDC, for example. But we obviously would like to extend that far more widely to all categories of rare diseases. And I think there's a lot of scope for that as well. And also the practical collaboration on how we can make the best use of that data and how we can also then link that to research. So to conclude, networking is the key. Of course, networking of health systems that are well resourced, that have, also the capacity, but ultimately we'll all be able to get much better results from the available capacities if those capacities are networked. And this is where I think Europe can play a strong role. We very much intend to do so. And let me conclude by saying that ultimately the test of any healthcare system is, of course, to provide effective diagnosis and quality of care, but it must do so also in the shortest possible time. Having treatments which are not readily and quickly accessible, of course, is only half the story. The speed is important, and this is where networking really can help, is to help shorten the distance between the patient and the answers that the patient deserves and needs. Thank you very much, and thank you.